This is Joe's Bridge, the site of one of the finest small unit actions by the British Army in 1944-45, and the reason we start our battlefield tour here. With the Allies now in control of the southern bridge approach, the scene was set for the final apotheosis, the dash across the bridge itself to help to link up with the American paratroops on the other side. Held in special readiness for this was a troop of 4 Sherman tanks, number 1 troop of number 1 squadron of the 2nd Grenadiers, commanded by Sergeant Peter Robinson. His other 3 tanks were commanded by Lance Sergeant Jack Billingham, Lance Sergeant Cyril Pacey and Sergeant Rocky Knight. All 4 tanks had 75mm guns except for Robinson's, which was a Firefly armed with a 17-pounder. The troop lined up for the attack just off the big roundabout, which is in our right rear, about 200 metres away. Waiting for a report that the Americans had reached the other side end of the bridge. Such a report, later proving accurate, came about 1800 hours. So at 1813, Sergeant Robinson set off, leading his troop into the roundabout and down towards the bridge. No photographs exist of the actual attack on that Wednesday evening. It was not quite dark as the troop rolled onto the bridge. Away to their left, Robinson could see the railway bridge with the 2 chimneys of the power station beyond. As the Shermans slowly moved forward onto the bridge, a German anti-tank gun positioned at far end fired a shell which struck the road in front of Robinson's tank, not hitting it directly but damaging one idler wheel and putting his wireless out of action. Robinson immediately threw out smoke and reversed. With the German gun now engaged Billingham's tank, though neither could see the gun, masked as it was by smoke from burning the house beyond, both Billingham and Pacey fired shells in that direction, and the gun stopped firing. All 4 tanks then reversed off the bridge and back onto the roundabout. Because his radio was out, Robinson climbed over to his tank, ran over to Billings and told him to switch vehicles. Again in wireless contact, he heard his battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Rodney Moore, ordering the attack to go in at all cost. At about 18:20 hours, the troop advanced again, now with Pacey's tank leading and Robinson following behind. By now it was almost dark. Those watching saw the troops simply disappear over the Vaal and out of sight into the twilight gloom. The tanks travelled only 50 metres when a Panzerfaust round struck from a nearby girder. German anti-tank guns had opened up one from ahead, and soldiers with Panzerfausts hiding on the bridge ready to fire more projectiles. Others were perched high on the ironwork, dropping grenades onto the tanks and sniping at the crews to force them to keep their hatches closed. Both Pacey's and Robinson's tanks opened fire with their machine guns, raking the bridge girders around and above them. Dead and wounded Germans began to fall out of the girders onto the roadway. And you can see some of the pictures taken later of Germans who have obviously been shot and fallen onto the roadway. At the northern end of the bridge stood a roadblock made of 4 concrete blocks, guarded by 2 wooden flak towers. It was cleverly designed so it could only be negotiated by turning vehicles or tanks broadside on, exposing their vulnerable parts for a German anti-tank gun sighted further down the road. Sergeant Pacey slowed sideways through one of the gaps and stopped on the far side. Robinson skidded through as well, overtaking Pacey. As his tank came out the other side, Robinson's guardsman Leslie Johnson saw an enemy gun at the side of the road 50 metres away with the crew about to open fire. They beat them to just draw, destroying the gun with 3 quick shots. And there's the areas where the houses were.
Yeah, so the siege is down there too, but it's all redeveloped now.
And
Here we am, Tim's on the camera, Frank's standing over there. We're overlooking the Arnhem battlefield at the point of the Driel ferry. We've been here 4 days, and after this we're going home. Bye.
Okay, we're standing on West Bowing Heights. We're looking south. This is the ground which dominates the Driel ferry, which is the crossing point through which they were trying to reinforce and then ultimately withdraw the airborne forces from Oosterbeek. My own family story plays a part in this. If you look over my left shoulder, you will see in the distance the church tower of Elst. My father was in that village, and at the point where they sent the Dorsets across in W-Duck amphibious trucks, my father was the only point of communication between the Dorsets on this bank and their own brigade.
Yeah. And it's a very short time.